before 7 o'clock. I had,
You guys have a good time.
oh, wow.
Big day.
Yes, big date for us. So we're going to roll along here. It's cold. First, a little snowy coming out there. Glad to have you out. Before we roll, early happy Thanksgiving. Hard to believe it's a week away. It's ridiculous. All the time the days are long, but the years fly by, folks. All right, we haven't been together since back in September. We have minutes there. Hopefully you've had a chance to peruse them. For any additions, changes, corrections, let it be known. If not, I'll entertain, accept as submitted. And thank you, Miss D. I've gone over them twice.
To accept.
Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Eric, what you got for us, man?
Just briefly, you've got appropriation reports there. We're nearing the end of the year. We've got a transfer later on your agenda, so
Okay.
it won't take up much time with the transfers primarily operational because we need to get things aligned in separate accounts. So, but in general, the budget held up pretty good. We're at 69% expended through the with the remainder of the year going on. General fund.
Anything pressing, Eric, that we're planning to come out before the end of the year?
Nothing that's not on your transfer.
Got it.
And utilities are in the negative in the non-reverting, but those are coming out of the general fund, so you'll see those as a negative in that category. But so with that in mind, the budget is in pretty good shape. Just a couple things noteworthy. The guardrail, as most of you probably have seen it, Community Park is up. Thanks to our street department for getting that installed. They had a contractor come in and do that. I have a meeting next week with Land and Water Conservation Fund to do the final items needed for the transfer of the Civic Plaza to the Parks Department to the city. And with that, we're going to be getting $200,000 from Land and Water Conservation to do some development next year in that area.
And jar my memory, Eric, have we renderings, ideas, what we'd like to see there?
There was some done by Keyser Consulting, but to actually do the planning, we'll probably go with USI or another entity that's that the city uses on a more regular basis.
Okay.
Remind everybody, November the 24th, the tree lighting at the Starrett Center.
Okay.
Begins roughly at 4:30 with a parade and tree lighting to conclude about 6:15.
Okay.
It's a pretty quick program. And then lastly, Play Park got opened up last week. They still haven't removed all their equipment, but they've got everything that they need up on the tower. So,
is the cell tower still there?
The temporary pole is still there. They'll pull that. As soon as they pull that, then we'll go in and do our concrete work. And
I was going to ask you, what do we now need to do?
we don't have to do anything. The contractor that the utilities hired to do the painting will come in and there's some concrete work to replace, to complete, and then also reseeding and around the tower area.
Okay. So. Anything else exciting?
No, that's it for right now. Some of the things I'll explain in the resolution.
Okay.
Transfer resolution.
Real quick, couple things from my standpoint. You already addressed the Oak Landing Park. That's exciting. God. Any update on our friends Arts for Lawrence and their endeavors, efforts to procure monies?
We haven't heard anything.
Okay.
They've got a new assistant over there. Aletha left,
Okay.
and some months ago, actually. But they've got another gentleman over there helping out, and so. But they're utilizing the Starrett Center just about weekly now for.
Okay.
They've got quilting class and poetry and different events. Yeah.
You taking the quilting?
No, felting, actually, I'm sorry.
Oh, felting.
Felting.
Yeah.
Terms right.
I am. Where are we at on the Starrett Center renovations there?
Talked to the designer today because we're waiting on light fixtures and then the furniture to be delivered from her. So some of those fixtures were, I guess, were on back order, so she said they should have them next week. And then we're waiting on our subcontractor to come in and finish.
And we're going to flip the current park office to that
That's the plan,
east,
yeah.
west side,
We've
correct?
already had Comcast ran in. They're switching over our phone systems to VPN or some other.
Correct.
So as soon as they do that, then we'll move our offices down the other end.
Okay.
Open up which I think will add better flow for the renters of the facility.
Right.
They'll be able to go in and out without going through our office,
Right.
So to speak, so.
Just a couple things real quick, since we hadn't gathered since September, just bullet point quickly there, the final budget, either salaries, real increases, just refresh
My
my.
understanding, we're to receive up to a 3% increase salary-wise, majorly next year. Then we've got the Explorer Park playground on, I believe, on for next year. And then also the paving of Harmon Way, which is it's coming through our department, but it's an expenditure from the,
Street or public?
well, it's general fund overture, actually, general budget overage, so.
Okay.
And something I might mention too, if employees or the controller and the mayor provided a reprieve on our December insurance premiums. So every employee that has insurance through the city will receive that amount.
It'll be
One
their
bonus,
rebate,
yeah,
right, okay,
December month, so
okay.
that was nice that.
It was nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Colleagues, any questions, input? Go
Yeah.
ahead there.
I did, when you were covering the Starrett Center update, when we heard from the Arts of Lawrence before, and they happened to be here when you were mentioning the updating we were doing.
Uh-huh.
And they said at that time to save our money for the AV update.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if we saved the money, but the money allocated for that, I don't think we should forego that, but I think it should be installed at the Lawrence Community Center. It would allow us to rent that a little more, maybe for more business, but I don't think we should just not use that money that was allocated for that. I think we should put it in the other building.
We had 105,000, or what the amount was allocated for. So there should be some left. If there is, then we'll definitely,
Basically, a way to show slides or the PA would be
let me,
well spent to make that thing more usable for organizations or
120.
business type
120.
training sessions like,
Yeah.
for that.
So we had 120 allocated for the redevelopment of the Starrett Center, and we're Oh, 80, well, we're about
I thought you
100,
meant 120 for the AV. It wasn't, I don't think it was
No.
that much, but
we're about 120, about 108 in, so there should be a little money left. We can,
By the
Possible.
way, Eric, those floors look awesome there at the Starrett Center. They
Thank
did a
you.
good job.
beautiful.
but so if we do have some money, we'll certainly save it for one of the facilities, yeah.
Well, at least, yeah, well, I mean, seeing as how we had some earmarked for that, and they
Right.
made it a point to tell us well ahead of time to don't worry about installing it, they were going to, so I think we should still install it. And then I had a question about the Harmon Way paving. You said that's coming out of the park budget?
No, it's going into the park budget. It's actually a overage on the city's general fund, so
Is it a transfer on their part
it
to
will
us?
be, it will be, yeah,
Okay. And then we will encumber it.
correct. We'll,
Okay.
So who's gonna pave it?
whoever we select in the bidding process.
I'm just curious, because I wouldn't have thought we would have been able to pave a Lawrence City street.
Well, it doesn't have to come out of road, it's cum cap, in essence, it's,
Really, okay.
yeah, it doesn't have to come out of road and street.
Is that a dedicated road? That's $100 million, that's the
We've been
$1
through
million
that, we've
question.
been through that
You talked
before.
about- Yeah, well,
Well,
I thought that's what.
You know, if they're spending city money on it, I guess it is.
That's where, okay, that's kind of where I was going, because it's not a tow path, we know that,
No,
or sidewalk.
so it is general fund money, so it'll actually come into our account, and then we'll select the contractor, and
Okay. That's a March, April-ish, hopefully, type of activity,
yeah, once
once they can start making it. And are we gonna mill it up all the way down and?
it depends on what they
Right.
recommend.
Got it.
Milestone offered us several years ago, process of actually grinding and using it as a sub base and you know, zero material
Right.
loss, so we'll just see what they come up with.
Okay.
Shrewsbury is the company that will probably have engineer it. But
So we are into board comments. I found what is, I'm not sure the correct term, but homeless camp. There's a homeless camp in the back of the park, in the wooded section between our boundary, I don't know if we're, and the railroad tracks. Now, I think probably if you, I don't know how we'll deal with that, but I wanted to let you know so you can take whatever action with the Lawrence Police, seeing as how their office is gonna be over there pretty close.
yeah,
It really, I mean, it's clear and obvious, there's mattresses. When I stumbled, it's a long story how I stumbled upon it, but, there's backpacks and things over there, and I think those kind of things, I don't know personally, but I've heard there, you know, that's a marked spot, people traveling the rails maybe, or that is known as a drop-off area, or probably is, seeing as how it's obviously well-used, but it certainly shouldn't be on the edge of our park where
Even if it's beyond
kids
a
are.
homeless encampment, which you have those struggles, I don't know if it's being used for really, truly criminal activity. I think that needs to be looked at beyond, you know, just a homeless encampment too. We just don't know 100% what's going on there 24 hours a day.
True, and what seems like a spot or a
Right.
layover for transient type people,
Right.
right adjacent to where we have unattended children or adults or
Yeah, that's why I
vehicles or
mean,
whatever,
there's
that
not real
shouldn't be
choice
that,
going on.
shouldn't be there. I mean,
I'll have the police department take a look. I know this summer we had a couple staying there quite a bit, but they were up by the baseball diamonds
Okay.
generally.
I just get uncomfortable in a secluded area, things beyond just a homeless encampment there. I mean, that's an issue, and empathy, but
it's right there adjacent to all the soccer
Yeah,
fields.
yeah, I know exactly where you mean, but it's,
There frequently, so.
I would imagine most of us are probably on the railroad right away, so I don't know if they have any
Okay.
jurisdiction over it or not.
okay.
On the railroads.
But I'll-
We gotta look at
Whatever they wanna get.
definitely on the safety of whoever's staying there.
Yeah.
Trained.
Well,
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, Mr.
Yeah, the guardrail in the community park, that's good. Thank you for
Yeah,
working
I'm
on
gonna
that.
make sure I contact
Appreciate
Jimmy on that.
That's really good.
Send him a,
Yeah, a high five or Cold beer or,
I don't know what they paid for it or
okay, but.
That was good.
who paid for it.
Recommend if you would, maybe guys get on the website and send Jimmy Hennigan a high five or a thank you. He'd appreciate that.
The orange fence back there, what's our plan for that?
The utilities put that up, and it'll probably come down now that the guardrail's up. I
Okay.
think it's more of just a
And alert people.
defer people from going down over the hill, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fat pedal next to the skinny pedal's the brake. You may want to consider it, type of thing.
I think I have a comment too.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
did you have more?
Go
Sorry.
ahead. I'm done.
I was just going to ask if there was a process on how you select taking down some of the dead trees that are throughout the park, particularly if they're out by themselves, maybe close to picnic tables or something like that. I've driven
Well,
around and seen in several parks
if
dead
you've
trees.
noticed, most of them have a white mark indicating that we're gonna take them down. Our first objective is to get the ones along Lee Road.
Right, that was the one I was going
back,
to bring up, yeah.
Had several comments from the community about that, so, that's kind of a winter project for us, so we'll start that pretty soon, actually. The street department's gonna loan us a piece of equipment that we can use to
Knock them.
haul that stuff around instead of, because we have our salt box now on our truck, so, we're gonna use
Now, will we use the wood, will we mulch it?
we chip whatever we can, we use that around.
Okay.
The logs, we'll cut up and we generally just leave it on site and then they
People
disappear,
come by and-
so, yeah,
That's it. I need some
Okay.
wood.
so.
Thank you, Eric.
So if you want some firewood, when we start cutting, keep an eye
Give me a
out.
heads up. All right, colleagues, anything? With some leverage here, a little leeway here on the order. Virgil, we're going to move you to point A under new business for your end of the year football baseball league review. So if you're ready to rock and roll, sir, the floor is yours. Oh my God.
Well, football's almost concluded. We've got one more weekend of All-Stars, so hopefully I'll be able to attend meetings a little bit more
That's all good.
frequently.
Where are you playing at this? Is it next
Never hope.
weekend or this weekend?
It's this Saturday.
Okay, I was just because I came out when we were at you're all at LN, and
Yep,
They saw some
Oh, I'm in football at the bottom.
because I've been a little bit negligent in reporting to you. I've tried to keep in touch through Eric and be open to any questions, but I need to see you guys a little bit more frequently.
Thank you, Darren. Not here.
I think most of the biggest issues or topics are on the paper that I've given you, but if you have specific questions or you'd like a little bit of explanation, I can offer that. And then just sort of is a really quick synopsis of baseball. Our numbers were down a little bit, well, quite a bit actually, 22%, which hurt me because that's the first year that we've really had a negative. Since I've been involved, we've always sort of trended positive or treaded water. And you see I've got a few possible causes there. I think some people got lost in the name change.
Yeah.
We did have spring weather that was like really bad when we needed it to be good. It would be on our registration days and just
We had that with track season. It
yeah,
was
worst
good
possible
God.
luck. I think there's a general decline in baseball. Speaking to folks at Skiles and Fall Creek, I think they're suffering a little bit too. I don't want to speak for them, but that just sort of seems to be the general feeling. And then I know that in our particular program, the year previous, we had a horrible experience. If anybody complained about our 7- and 8-year-old division,
Remember you
there's a real
saying that.
strong chance that complaint was legitimate. We had a bad mix of coaches. We had one in particular that was just a menace. And Donnie was with me. Donnie and I did not manage as well. I won't say that we didn't try, but we did not succeed. And so we saw a loss in that area. And then some of those kids had either younger or older siblings, and it cascaded. You know, the volunteerism for Lawrence Park baseball is, I probably should have put a modifier there. It's extraordinarily weak. It's about as close to me doing everything as I can imagine.
Right.
Coaching, we've managed to barely find the number of coaches we need. I spent a lot of time last year talking to parents to try to get people inside the fences. I think we've got a manageable thing there. But on the administrative front, nobody has any interest in helping manage. They don't want to be yelled at. They don't want to collect money. They don't want to play in the dirt. And my only real hope there is to recruit from outside my park for people that have a heart for service. I attempted this last year, but it was probably a little bit too late. I want to reach out to all of the area churches and community
You were inside my
organizations.
head there. I was thinking the churches.
And see if we can't, bring some people in that are more interested in kids than they are baseball.
Right.
And that's what we need. But I'm going to continue that. If anybody has any ideas or stumbles across anybody, send them my way. There's no idea that I won't try because we're desperate there.
Right.
And then maintenance, the same thing. Nobody's super interested in doing a lot of work. We've got a very consumerist mentality at our park. They are customers. They want to be treated as customers. And we need to really improve the sense of ownership of the people that participate and a sense of community, which is odd because some of them are very proud about Lawrence baseball. For them, that's Lawrence baseball. I know we've got other organizations, great organizations, good people there. I know most of them or some of them. And but for our folks, they consider that Lawrence baseball,
Right.
and they're proud of it. But we've had a demographic shift. Moving on financially. Now, I wasn't privileged to everything before because of the unusual relationship we had with the Lions Club, but it feels like the best season we've ever had.
That's impressive there.
You see the numbers there. We've got almost $6,200 in the bank. That's a pretty substantial increase over where we started 2018. I've already, because I had money, been able to hit clearance sales from Epic Sports and stuff. We've laid in, we have never, this is a detail, but it does indicate, we have never included catcher's mitts in our equipment bag. I bought enough of them that every team, that has a catcher, or Pee-wees won't, but that will be included in the bag to help improve the experience for the players and the coaches. And just things like that, I've been able to buy bases on clearance. So we've already got a good head start on what we would spend next year, and we still have that money. We need to tighten down our fee collection and solicit donors earlier. Because of the changeover, I had very few sponsors last year because we were into the season really before I could pursue sponsorships.
Okay.
So I hope that we can bring in some more donations for the program next year. But you see our needs there. Field maintenance is always a big thing. Baseball dirt is expensive. The building maintenance, almost everything that is our responsibility needs painted. Some wood needs replaced and repaired. And then we've got old equipment. The gator I'm using works fine, but it is an antique. Lawrence Park Baseball needs a capital account to anticipate, giant expenditures that might happen. With that all being said, if you do the math on the increase over last year and our usage agreement, it will eat up most of that. But I might be speaking out of turn or incorrect here. I don't think the Lions Club ever fully satisfied the usage agreement, ever. I am prepared to do that, whatever whether it's the total amount or you forgive me a little bit because of our extreme financial hardship, I'm ready to write the check. So as soon as the amount is given and it's to Eric, you will have a check immediately. Lawrence Park Baseball expects to meet all of its obligations and pay its bills. And the Parks Department's always been very fair to me. I have a different view than maybe our past representative. I get a fair shake from the Parks Department, very much so. So I'm more or less coming hat in hand saying I believe it's a program that deserves to be supported, and any mercy there will be appreciated but not expected. And it definitely will go back into the fields. Do you have any questions specific to Lawrence Park Baseball?
I'm just a couple, maybe a safety concern. This is strictly a facilities. How sound are our lighting? Is our lighting there?
It's not. That's
Pearson Electric put those in how many years ago?
Yeah. Methuselah was the electrician, I think.
well, and we've noticed that, and I am fortunate that I've got people in the league they work for McAllister Equipment, so I can get a boom truck. I do have licensed electricians in the league, and I'm trying to see if we could do that, because if we could, that would go a long, long way towards the offset of our usage fee. It would be mutually beneficial to both parties.
Well, yeah, no offense. We get the wind that's been blowing through here. Our windstorms have becoming epic. Eric, I'm gonna put that upon you. That could be a serious in-kind service that they could provide. No offense against baseball right now, but that's a service that needs to be done from a sheer liability part on our part.
Yeah, I know we've replaced those, been several years ago, we replaced all
Oh, yeah.
the cross members up
Right.
there.
Well, and that's essentially what needs to be done.
Oh, God, yeah.
And when we do it, just whether we do it, you do it, I think we really ought to think about steel.
Yeah, we did that at Alexander Park when we redid those lights several years ago. We, not only did we relamp everything, but we put in new steel supports, yeah.
I think that should be, personally, as far as a facility issue, I think that should be definitely pushed to the front of the line. And I think you guys, we got to make something like that happen. We were up here Indy Dew Day working, and I saw it, I said, whoa. And then I brought my cross-country kids up, or /track kids, 3 weeks ago. We were running in the back, and I don't have a lot of confidence right now in a liability with those things. So
I agree, and Eric and I can work together if there's any way that I can contribute to that to, help save the city money or offset, I will. If it's just deemed that that's too much of an inconvenience or inappropriate, then obviously not. But
I think that's something we need to look at, Eric, seriously.
and Eric have already, I've discussed it because I saw it, and
Okay.
I had kind of hoped to already have it done, but
Okay.
volunteers operate on their own schedule sometimes.
Go
I
ahead.
have a side issue about the lights. The baseball diamonds when they practice football.
Yes.
The lights on there. Somebody had the lights on the other night.
I did.
Okay. I don't know. Did we talked about that previously. How did we handle that?
Yeah, last year, I know we had that discussion, and Virgil usually turns those on and off for the,
Okay, as long as if you're doing it.
No, in fact, they're on right now, and I will turn them off when I leave.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
and-
don't care one
Yeah,
way or
if
the
he's,
other.
personal opinion, if he's in running that bad boy, yeah.
Handling it.
Okay, well, and the reason we do is just so that the Parks Department go ahead and winterize the football facility.
Right.
Okay.
We lose restrooms there, but the restrooms at Community Park are heated by the whole building.
Okay.
So I have some place for restrooms, and so we have about 2 weeks usually of football where we're doing all-stars and lose our football facility.
Okay.
But I don't want to make RJ wait, and it's good that we didn't because it got cold. So
It's fine, as long as
Okay.
you're supervising that, it's fine with
You're
me.
in charge of it, I don't have any problem.
Yep.
All right,
Okay.
anything else with baseball, women? All right, Mr. Virgil?
Okay, and moving on to football again. This is the first year that we've had negative participation numbers. We had 281 versus 345. On this, I have a little bit better handle on our causes. We had some road coaches that formed travel teams and pulled kids out of our league. I know through the rumor mill we're going to get some of those kids back. We won't, because some people will be prideful and not.
Right.
But they did not have a good experience. They like Lawrence football much better than what they have. And we've got poor promotion, and I don't know what all we can do about it, but we do need to improve our promotion. And then there's this is not a question mark, there's a documented decline in youth football.
Yeah.
Pike is non-existent.
That's hard.
North Central is down to about 3 teams per age group. Even like Fishers went from 8 teams in their 3rd grade down to 3. So now there, people aren't not participating, they're running to lacrosse mostly.
Right, right.
So they're losing a lot of kids to lacrosse, so at least they're still involved in sports. With people like us, Pike, there are some that are leaving the sport, but mostly we're being rated by travel football, which is a relatively new phenomenon.
Yeah, they're going off the baseball model.
Yeah, it's doing to us what happened to baseball, but it's a really bad idea in football. I'll editorialize for a moment. It's dangerous. There's not real oversight of those teams. They're not necessarily USA Football certified. They're not connected with their community. They're oftentimes practicing unsupervised with no real administration. You really are betting on the better angels of people that may not be motivated by the best things. And just this past weekend, we were at Ben Davis, and their program is down a lot. There were 4 parents in front of me talking, and I interrupted them. I said, I'm from Lawrence, but, and they were really negative on Ben Davis. And I know the people at Ben Davis. They work hard. They're good. But they were negative on the program. And so I wanted to get, and they're like, it's not even a league anymore. We're down to just a few teams. It doesn't have the feel. And she even highlighted, and this was not a bunch of dads. This was a mom. She said, travel football has killed us. She said, I did it one year. I won't do it anymore because of what I saw. And her solution was she's going to move to another community that has a healthier league. Maybe we'll get lucky and have her because we are healthier compared to Ben Davis. That's a long way to go, though.
Yeah.
But that's not really the solution. And so as we get down here to the remedies, we need to deny access to these rogue groups. And I've been in meetings with other league directors. Some leagues, as their numbers drop, they get desperate enough that they will give those folks games. And we're going to try to get all the local area community football together and just vow to not do that. And if we have to change our rules so that we're compatible, so that we can give each other games, we will do that. Because I would much rather support North Central than somebody that just got mad and took 15 kids to do their own thing. I've also researched ordinances that other communities have used. So I don't know whether I have to attend a city council meeting once I get that all done. But right now it appears that we don't really have the ability to deny the use of our city property to these groups. And other communities have dealt with this. I found some that, but I haven't found one that I feel is really, really good yet. They seem to have either giant loopholes or they're unenforceable. But If it's a possibility that we can deny practice area, I believe we should do that, but we've, got to be able to legally do that.
Virgil,
Yes?
so they're using our facilities for practice?
One of the groups that took a number of my kids practices by the sledding hill. It was one of the most embarrassing evenings I had because we were using the activity center for an IEFA meeting. That's the travel league that my kids participate in. And they were like, oh my, where'd you find those kids? We need to be worried about your program. Now, they didn't realize that some of those kids were 7th and 8th graders, so they looked huge for 5th and 6th graders. I'm like, well, to start with, some of those kids aren't eligible. They're 5th and 6th graders, and none of those kids are participating in my league. So, yeah, and I anticipate that I've lost people, but I had two families that when practices started, they found us, but they got sidetracked there for a minute, and then and they were working out with those kids, and then through conversation realized, oh, wait a minute, this isn't really Lawrence football. This is just football that's in Lawrence. And that's tremendously frustrating, but I've complained and had it come back to me that we really don't, it's a public park. But like I say, there are other communities that have written ordinances to deny, to organized groups that repeatedly, so if I can find one of those that I think is applicable, I'll, bring it forward. But so far I haven't really. So deny them access, find ways to reach our children more directly. It's very hard to get flyers in kids' hands now, but I did learn of, and I don't remember exactly what it's called, but there's always been the email blast, but I just recently learned that there's a robocall that goes out to parents. Mm-hmm. And hopefully I can get myself inserted into that. And that will be much better than the email because a lot of people don't even pay attention to email blasts anymore. They will listen, even if it, goes to their voicemail, they will eventually get it. I'm still going to continue to work and see if I can't get flyers in kids' hands. And then one of my board members is Kathy Lusso. She's the principal at Fall Creek Valley.
Yeah, it used to be, yeah.
She's providing me with lots of good ideas where we can get ourselves involved in the schools to go to them, which will also help with the next issue we have, which is, that will allow us to engage the parents with real facts. Per capita, there are more concussions in girls' youth soccer than there is football. Mm-hmm. But football is too dangerous to do. We have very few concussive events on our fields. We're very serious about watching those kids, holding those kids out. Youth players, they just really aren't strong enough and fast enough to generate those forces. Once we do have them occasionally, even with little kids, but very, very rarely. Once we get to our 5th and 6th grade travel team, when you get to middle school and high, you start seeing the speed and power the players pick up, and actual concussions are more common. Now what we have is a kid gets a bump on the head, and we watch them, make them take them to the doctor, and find out that most of the time they're cleared. Every now and then it'll be, hey, keep him out a week, bring him back to me. But we need to get that information in front of parents. And then we need to decrease the cost of participation. Lawrence football is too expensive for parents. Football is expensive because, in my opinion, we should have licensed actual officials. We do, and that's for the safety of the game. Every one of the officials on my field, they are working Friday nights at high schools. They're a very, very good group of guys, but that makes them expensive. And then just because of the history of Lawrence football, we've never had an equipment loaner program. And so parents have to pay our registration fee and then come up with helmet, shoulder. That's a big burden. So you'll see in a minute, one of our needs is that we want to establish an equipment loaner program. But if you do the math on a $100 helmet and a $50 pair of shoulder pads, that gets to be a giant pile of money very fast. So Moving on past that, volunteerism. It's pretty weak, but we have the coaches we need, and there's good enthusiasm there. The administrative thing is manageable, but far from ideal. I have people that, there's more enthusiasm around football, and they want to join the board. A lot of times it's because they've got something they want to do.
They have an agenda, yeah.
But even still, that they're there. And then oftentimes, 2 years ago after our elections, I was super excited. It was the best board I ever had. And then before the season was out, about half of those fell by the wayside because it's difficult and messy. I've joked sometimes we're a collection agency that plays football on the side because to fund ourselves, I don't open the door and just wait for the parents to walk in. I have to go get them. And that's painful for people, and they don't like that. And football is passionate, so when they don't like something, they really don't like it, and they will let you know. And a lot of people just don't have the stomach for that. But I keep getting a stream of people that are willing to step up into the firing line, and so far it's been manageable, but I would like it to be a little bit more stable. And maintenance, that I've got a guy now that's super excited, and I'm excited about him. So hopefully I'll have more help there, but I never have really had much help. Financial, much like baseball, it's been a great season with concerns. We got a little bit over $10,000 in the bank, which is a lot for us. And that versus about $4,300 this time last year. Now there may be some expenses, and I do hope to get some donations, so these definitely need to be taken with a grain of salt, but not a $5,000 grain of salt, maybe a $1,500. They're good approximations. I've tried to anticipate what will come in and what will go out. Areas to improve, we need to tighten down our fee collections and solicit donors much earlier and much more consistently. And then our needs, much like baseball, field maintenance, building maintenance, replacement repair for old equipment. I've got 2 scoreboards that are antiques that every year I have to send them out, and luckily I can get them repaired. They still service them, but every year I have to send a module out and get stung by a wasp. They love those scoreboards. I don't know why, but they build in there. But so far we've been able to, but I would love to permanently take one of those off because if I could replace one, I would have because the 2 that are antiques are identical, so I would have spare parts on hand. I'll be faster, I'm sorry. And then we need to establish that equipment loaner program. And my plan there is to do it with our 1st and 2nd grade, so do it a third of the league at a time. And then I need to find a new fundraising director, which is the reason I'm nervous, because we've got great money on hand this year, but my fundraising coordinator got offered a much better job in Texas and left me. And he was really, really good. It was the first time I'd ever had somebody that good. So I'm looking for candidates now. And I'm sorry for taking so long, but if you have some questions before everybody needs to jet out.
Eric, real quick, do we have any glaring, I know we do the usual field maintenance. Are there any glaring issues out on the football field that, especially from a safety liability standpoint, that we have got to address that you see?
No, I actually walked just a couple weeks ago, and besides some wear spots, it's actually in pretty good shape this year from Virgil putting the additional dirt, especially on the lighted field. They could always use top dressed and aerated and that sort of thing. And
any issues with the building or anything? Buildings out there that are just bleh,
No, we had
project worthy.
We had the roof repaired under an insurance rider or insurance claim, so that was done 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know of anything.
Okay.
No, I don't think there's anything that rises the label of safety. We've got some eyesores. I've got painting all of our goalposts on the top of our agenda because they're rusty.
Yeah.
So we definitely can improve our appearance and feel, but I don't think there's any safety issues there. And just, again, once we finalize usage agreement and get a number, I'm prepared to pay whatever. and we have it. You know, we want to be a good tenant. And Eric and I, when they did the roof, I had somebody that stepped up, and he is willing to pay the deductible. I don't know exactly how that works, so I'll get with Eric. It may be that it just makes more sense for him to donate it to me and then
Work it that way.
pay the usage agreement or whatever. But there is good community support for football, much more so than baseball. And so that's what we have. If you have any
Eric,
questions, I
you
will
and-
answer. But
You and Verge with the baseball, especially the lights, and you guys hammer out a number and get it to us.
We'll start meeting here towards the end of the year and for the
Okay.
year to start for next year's agreements, so.
Okay, like I said, my big issue I
We'll
have.
hash all that out. We know where you live.
now that we can, the fact that we haven't is not Eric's fault. It's my.
Oh, no, you're still
I've
in
not
season.
been
I
available.
understand. That's what it's supposed to be. You don't want to, you don't want to be not doing something that you're supposed to be, so. That's good. Well, thank you, sir. You continue. You've screwed up in reverse again, and we expect you to be back here in 2019 resuming your activities.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, we got a couple of resolutions number 3 and 4 that we have to address, and I can't read either one of them because I can't see. Change my eyes here. Eric, resolution 3, you want to help us out there?
It's a transfer between funds. As I said earlier, we've got the money allocated in the, in our general account in the 400s, which is our capital
Right,
portion.
right.
Primarily it's dealing with the playgrounds at Veterans Park. One is the purchase of the equipment, which
Right.
is in the right account. Then we have to transfer money from that account into our 300 account, which is our outside labor,
Okay,
and then some freight to get it here. So
got it.
that's, whatever it is, 62,000 is all for the playground installation
Okay.
and the,
And it's going to be installed by an outside contractor?
Correct.
Got it.
and the, and a majority of the surfacing border and, you know, the concrete we put around them, we're lacking about $4,500 to
Okay.
$5,000 that we'll pick up out of next year's fund.
And this is for 2019 playground project?
It will be this winter when if,
Right, whenever you can get around to, got it.
and then the, then 11,000, well, we can say 12,000 for a piece of equipment, mower that
Yeah, I saw that.
rotating out early, a year early. We had some hydraulic, well, we don't really know what's wrong with it, but
It's time for it to go away.
it's about $6,500 to repair. They're gonna give $6,500 to trade in, so we're gonna go ahead and get rid of it now and bite the bullet and get a new one.
Get a new one, yep.
So,
Colleagues, any questions for Eric? Well, somebody, I need a resolution made here. Need a second.
I'll move that we, it has to be approved. Approve the resolution 3.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, well, let's go spend, Eric. Joy, it's like freaking Christmas. Now, this one still blows my mind. If you look at resolution number 4, it is the disposal of surplus, surplus property. And Eric, just for the sake of the humor, what are we surplusing away?
yeah, I actually have photographs.
We don't, no, just help us.
No, we're our new inventory system, we are required to, anything that has a city tag on it, and that's anything over, what was it, $50, I think? Yeah. So we're liquidating or removing a, I don't even know what you call it.
Couch?
No, a pallet jack. from our maintenance department, a broken chair from Alexander Park,
Okay.
2 broken couches from Community Park, my old office chair,
Oh, this office chair is classic.
two wingback chairs from the community center that we're gonna replace with new stuff, but
Those are from the Starrett Center.
Starrett Center, I'm sorry. So,
Are there any humans working for the department that has a tag that we're surplusing out?
Not getting rid of any humans, right?
All right. Well,
actually, we have a gentleman that wants to repurpose all of it, so it's,
have at it. All right. Well, this is government at its finest. We need a.
I move we dispose of the junk surplus property in resolution number 4.
Second.
All those in favor? Is there any more discussion? Does anybody want Eric's chair? Wow.
it's dangerous.
Oh.
It lasted 22.
Oh, if it would have been a horse, you'd have shot it by
Are
now.
you getting a new chair? That's all.
Well, no, not yet. I'm using an old, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. I'll find one somewhere.
I've been on this board for a long time. Eric, that was a first.
Yeah.
All right. Anything group contribution? Anything from the audience crowd? Come on down, state your name, who you're with, all that good stuff.
My name is Ray Kramer, and I am the travel baseball coordinator at Fall Creek, just up the street. Actually, you and I should probably talk because baseball's not dying; it's shifting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a better way to put it.
Right. And at Fall Creek a couple years ago, we had been tied to Little League Baseball, which meant you can't do travel, you have to stay within the district. And noticing that the landscape was shifting, we decided, okay, we're going to drop the Little League and form a travel program.
Okay.
And what we did this year, it's only going to be the 3rd year that we've had the program itself. But last year, me and Shaka Johnson, who's an assistant coach, and Travis Wilson, we kind of pulled our kids together who had all been recruited by teams like the Bulls, who are
Right.
based out of Grand Park,
Right.
the Astros, the Nitro. We got some
Yep.
great ball players. And we said, you know what? Let's do it in our community. You know, it's right in our backyard. Let's put Lawrence back on the map, bring baseball to the forefront. So what we did was we ended up being one of the best teams in the state.
Knew that. There
We won the state tournament this year. The Bulls organization fired 3 coaches because of our team. So part of the success that we had was the shed, the indoor facility that Cathedral used to use. After they let it go, it sat vacant for probably 1.5 years, 2 years. Once it was turned back over to us, when we walked in there, it was a disaster. Even as bad as feces on the walls that we had to scrub off. We do have a very excited, vibrant group of parents out there, and you mentioned the volunteerism on the rec side. It's still tough. We get a lot of parent involvement. So last year, one of the big things in the winter with these travel programs, they need a place to practice. It's a full year-round sport at this point. If you go somewhere like Incrediplex or any of these other facilities, you have to price in about an extra $2,000 to $3,000 just to rent space. So the big draw to our program is that shed. So my company and my wife's company donated over $20,000 last year to put all new lighting in it, to get it professionally remediated, to buy netting, to buy about 1,000 baseballs so kids could just show up and play, and also towards scholarships for hardship kids who are good baseball players. So we have 2 kids right now on our team that we're sponsoring. So it was a great success, I think, because of the shed and the amount of access we had to it. So when we took it over in the fall last year and renovated it, we used it all winter. We don't use it much in the summer because we're outside, but Shaka and I happened to go in there late June, early July to get some batting practice in on a rainy day, and we saw mold growing through the ceiling. Okay. We had Midwest Remediation, who's a Lawrence company, come out and look at it, gave us a quote. I met with Eric back in early September, who submitted a claim to insurance. They have since denied it, saying that it wasn't because of a leak issue, which I find really hard to believe.
Yeah, no crap.
It was the roof. But with that being said, we've been in communication about this since August, that we need this up and running. So this is a immediate safety hazard. I can't even, it's possible last year it was in there, We just didn't know about it because we couldn't physically see it. But with that being said, the success of our program is bringing numbers in, not just from Lawrence, but we have a kid on our team from Greencastle.
Right.
He's coming from an hour away because our program is that good. So we're now stuck at the point, we've been talking about this for 3 months. We just now got the decision and we're stuck. So I did put together, and I don't know how, you all want to go about doing this, but printed out a few things for you. There you go. Thank you. The first page of pictures there, I just wanted to show you what the facility looked like after we rehabbed it. That was just about a year ago. But all new top-of-line equipment. Again, between my company, my wife's company, we got, we negotiated some good money to get the thing rehabbed. Top-of-the-line equipment in there, pitching mounds, nets. You can have a team of, 12 kids in there busy the whole time and not standing around. The second picture is us winning state this year. So a picture of our team. I mean, I can't tell you how big of a deal this was. The fact that these organizations that are run out of Grand Park and Field of Dreams that put tens of thousands of dollars into each kid, that we went out there and ran them over, and everyone's like, who are you guys and where are you from? So we're trying to create the local-based community team program out of our backyard, and it's working. But the big thing is that shed. The bulk of that is the estimate we got from Midwest Remediation, and I broke it down because they went in there and just said, okay, if we did everything, this is what it would cost, including ripping out the turf and everything like that. I don't think we need to do that. But what does need to happen is there's insulation in the ceiling that has the mold growth that needs to be taken out completely. I don't think we need to replace insulation because we have some heaters in there. But we just turn them on as we go in and turn them off as we leave. So it doesn't really need to be insulated, and then if there's no insulation in there, the odds of mold coming back goes down. So they need to take all that out, spray it all down, spray the walls, and then professionally clean the carpets. And so that's where we're at. I mean, at this point, we don't feel safe taking the kids back in there to work out. So that's why I was told to come to the meeting and present our case.
And just to inform the board, not only did our insurance, we provided them these quotes from Midwest Remediation, but also the quote from Reese Construction to come in and rehab the facility, which is another $45,000 on top of this, to get it back to, put in new walls but they cannot do the remediation. It has to be done by a licensed contractor, remediation contractor.
But what's paramount is the 22,000 or so of, that's the must be done.
Yeah, I mean, that could be quoted out to other companies. I don't know. I've got a personal contact that I've known a long time there, and they've been very good to the league. They went in there and cleaned it out last year, pro bono, as far as cleaning the carpets. So I thought I'd, at least go with them to get the first look at it. I'm sure we could bid it out, but I don't think that. I think that just scraping it out and respraying it down, because also too, the lights that are in there, we just put those up. Right. They work great and they'll last for 100 years, literally. They're these LEDs. And so rather than tear down the ceiling and tear down walls, I don't think that needs to be done. I just think the attic needs to be addressed, cleaned out, spray down everything, and I think we're good to go. And if we could do that for cheaper than the $22,000, I'm all for it. That's just the one quote that we've got.
Jeff, did you mention anything to Grant Nesbitt?
Yeah.
We've had a conversation with the Fall Creek Middle School also about starting a program over there, a winter program too.
I just mentioned it in passing, obviously not privy to this much information. and what 100% has been done inside. I know there's been copious improvements made to the interior, but I didn't aid. Eric just mentioned there was mold in here, but without the information of a potential bid type of thing, I put this on my to-do list. Judith, you know this isn't your expertise. Is that a high number? Can it be adjusted number?
Well, I know a little bit about mold remediation.
Right.
Having been exposed to that, but I agree with your intention. If, for one, you got a local company, you use a company that already had already worked with you before. That was where I would have started, but I was just trying to find, I was just looking through here and I have an eye issue and I couldn't read the square feet. What is the, I was trying to read the measurements.
It's what,
over there.
50 by,
So you walk in, there's a little locker room, and
Right.
there's a coach's room, and then it's a big open room.
I call it a garage-like area, yeah.
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 71 by 43.
So that, and we're talking about the entire square area, not just the attic, but walls below, not just the attic walls, but.
I think for safety issues, I mean, I don't know how long that problem's been there, honestly. I mean, my guess is that mold's been in there for years, and it probably goes dormant in the winter. And when we go in on a rainy June night,
Comes to life.
it's blossoming. But yeah, I mean, I would feel, yeah, I mean, the attic has to be scraped out and sealed, and I think spraying on the wall and cleaning the carpets, obviously. I mean, we don't want any kids getting sick. Obviously, that's where we're coming from.
Do you know how they're gonna wash the walls?
What's that?
Do you know how they're gonna wash the walls? What's the procedure they're gonna use?
I don't know.
They're painted, so I don't know if they use a,
That's why I was wondering, you said you guys went in and cleaned it up, the pictures are beautiful.
Oh, yeah, we had
Yeah.
30 guys. We actually had to turn a few people away. It was crazy. We had so much participation, but I mean, it's that special of a thing to have. I mean, we call it the shed. I mean, it's just a big open space,
I've seen,
but it's what all these teams wish they had. And, so it really turned out great. Like I said, we're trying to vitalize it. I have some ideas. Now, Will Jacobs is the president, and he's going through some health issues right now, or else he would have been here. But I have some ideas about the rec baseball as a whole. I think there needs to be some conversation maybe about combining some of these leagues, or sharing. Because rec sports, whether it's football or baseball, it's just travels where it's going.
Yeah.
And rather than, the way that we work over at Fall Creek is not like, oh, we're the travel program. We're working together to get that place back to where it needs to be. We're also working on a grant. My wife is a grant writer with Major League Baseball. We're trying to get about a $250,000 grant out there to redo field. I mean, we got lots of field issues too. And we're not asking for the city on anything on field repairs, but we put a lot of money into this to get a building you guys own rehabbed and bring something good to the community. And, because of the mold, it's on hold right now.
We need a plan,
it looks like the biggest expense is cleaning the carpets.
And getting the ceiling.
Getting the insulation out.
Yeah, but as a total, the biggest line item is carpets cleaned. Insulation removal, that's a labor issue and not, and I realize it's mold, but that's not, you don't have.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, just like I said, this was not, I just had them come out and say, what's wrong? If they cleaned it all out and I had to rent a wet vacuum to do it, I'll do it myself. But what we can't do as volunteer parents is go up in the attic.
Right, and suck
with
that in.
respirators
Yeah.
and do that.
Your
So, I mean,
wife's mad at you. I'll let you do it that way.
yeah, I mean, if we could get that done and get, however they spray down the walls with whatever they do, cleaning the carpets.
Eric, we got to come up with a plan here. I guess what we need to look at is and I use the term in-house, what the league, what the travel folks could do. maybe what we could do, and then like you said, the drop dead is getting the insulation out of that attic.
Yeah.
So potentially, from that component, it's possible to get a new quote on that. And I'm spitballing here, people. What can physically be done when it's in-house?
Well, I mean, we're not certified out.
Right.
So we can't, I mean, we can go in and clean and paint and things, but we can't do the remediation. That has to be done by a
Right, licensed folk.
licensed crew.
Well, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
There is not a license for mold.
No, but
And has it been
there's
tested?
safeguards, of course.
Yeah, they came out and went up in there.
Did they do a lab analysis on the type of mold is there? Because there's a lot of different molds. The statute, if they gave you a name, is there, you know, you can get mold.
You can get in the weeds in it, yeah.
And it's mildew,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna cause,
Most of them are not harmful.
right, they're not. So unless there's been a lab analysis that says it's a statuborous or one of the black mold, then they're really, unless it's one of those, puts it in it, and that it's been lab verified that that's what it is, it doesn't put it in the category of requiring remediation. I mean, removal can still be called that, but people
But it can be
that
done
do
by the
that,
lay people, yeah.
What it does appear, I think the first thing we need to tackle there is get another operation there. The key thing is getting that attic. That definitely is a big one there. We need to get, is there a quote, a plan that another outside source that does this? I think we tackle the attic component first.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I said, my initial intention when we met with Eric
Right.
was submit insurance. Hopefully they do it. And
And they did. Now we got to, I'm sitting here working through what's our next, now we got to have a plan. We got a plan B in place. I think our plan is to go forward with, get some information out about cleaning that attic out. Who can do it? Like you said, Judith, is what is, when you say mold, what the hell?
yeah.
Give us some info.
Usually when it's confirmed about the type of mold it is because they've swab tested
Right.
and done a lab analysis. Or
and I don't know if they did that or not. My guess is they didn't.
You know, it can even be air sampled.
Well, we did that who was the contract we used at Gin Park to do?
Yeah, God, that's talk going on. Yeah.
It's been years ago. I don't
Not Echo Lab, was it, or something like that?
They do the, no, there's a big company right over here on 65th Street that does it.
Okay.
Well, I think that's our first step, and we got to get on this ASAP. I'll be blunt, I won't bullcrap anyone. I knew there had been some rehabbing on the inside, and Dick Winsor and I are good buddies. I are at Lawrence North, and I knew we had a great year out there. This has changed my thought on this building because there's been a lot of effort put in, and it is extremely usable. I don't want to see it come down now. I was of the impression that it was not in good shape at all, and it needed to go away, but it obviously doesn't need to go away. So our first step's got to be what's going on in that attic. That whoever we got to do, let's start with that. If we get somebody in there that says, hey, yeah, that insulation's got to go, and this is what needs to happen in the attic, and now you're good to go.
Right.
I think I think we need to see what steps we need to take. I'm very happy and pleased you took big steps there, but let's parcel it out by priority.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's, Eric and
Gotta
I have been
stay.
talking, and he said, hey, this is the process to go through. Come here tonight, state your case.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's been almost 4 months since we knew it, and we're kind of, like I said, it is something. Go ahead.
Could I ask if I'll volunteer to make an inquiry about getting a pro bono test?
Okay.
I know one of the first biologists in the state that went through state chemist's office for licensing for that.
Okay.
And at least you can get a testing done to know
What steps we need to
what you're
take
dealing
next.
with. The cost
plenty of it to
overall,
test.
I mean, I'll tell you, I've seen this cost associated with a residential size house. Mold. So the cost, of course, it's all open, you don't have a lot of interior walls, but I don't think the cost overall is, when you're talking about remediation, it's not out of line, but most of it's carpet cleaning, and that, you don't need a remediation company for that.
All right. Well, we just, we'd been kind of waiting, and then, we've
I'd
got,
say, yeah, you got to swing for the fence.
we've got an army of guys that are willing to help out, but nobody wants to go in that attic.
Well, no, and I wouldn't expect, no, hell no.
If it's all right with you, I'll make an inquiry
Yeah.
about getting a test.
Yeah, that's
testing
fine.
done for you to identify the microorganism you're dealing with.
If and I know with indoor workouts and baseball and the like, it's November-ish. It's about a 60-day window max until people start. It's into January and kids and folks are wanting to play baseball and workouts are beginning. Dickie's doing 2 days a week at All In now with kids. We've got about a 60-day window here. If we can, maybe Judith, maybe.
Tomorrow's a work day. I'll call tomorrow.
I don't think it's something, especially if we can figure out, what's in there, get that out, have somebody spray down. Carpets we'll take care of.
Okay.
And we'll cover the cost of doing that. I can probably actually get, through some connections, get it donated. But, like I said, this was not numbers I put together saying, hey, here's how much we want.
Because Eric and I had talked, and this hasn't been slapped together, the thought, and like I said, it has changed my mind on what direction I want to go with that building. And the rest facility,
As Ray and I have discussed, though, regardless of what happens and resolve the problem, we need some sort of ventilation in that facility.
I would say like there's that back, there it used to be a garage door it opened.
Right.
Now it doesn't open. It's just stuck. And I think that's another thing too, that a group of guys, we go in there and rip that, last year it was just getting it in shape.
right.
To use. And
And I knew this would be a process.
yeah.
I mean, it took this group on the back. It was a process getting the former tenants off there. So
Right.
this is going to be a process also.
I mean, we got it from the abandoned stage to up and running in about 3 months.
When
Because
we did
there was so
our
much-
redo day out there 2 years ago, we went in there and went, Jesus God, it was horrific.
Yeah.
It was open to the public
Yeah.
at that moment in time.
Yeah. So we had a great time in there. We love, honestly, if it were no money involved or something, all the things that we bought in there could be taken out. You could tear it down and probably rebuild the structure
Right.
for less than what the insurance,
Right.
costs. But with that being said, we need the space.
This has this has some prospects here. We can get it remediated. So, Thomas,
Whose insurance policy was it? Is that ours or?
It's ours. The building is ours, so it went through our underwriters, Chubb. We're back with Gregory and Appel now, so.
Okay.
And I'm more than happy if anybody needs to meet them out there. If you go out and need somebody, I'm willing
I'll
to.
get a phone number for you in just a minute.
okay. All right, we'll make that our process. Maybe as a group here, we can have an update in a week or so. Then we can communicate amongst ourselves potentially what plans. We don't have to wait until December for a meeting. But I think our first step is maybe we can tailor down either cost and what actually needs to be done. Because now I'm back excited about possibly, we need to, of keeping that building.
I like what you said about, I'd hate to fix it and then have to refix it later.
Yeah.
So, doing it right the first time and taking a look at it.
Yeah, honestly, for, it could be used for more things in the summer and stuff, but it's really, about a 3.5 to 4 month window that it gets a lot of
Yeah,
use.
just the crap of you. Yeah, it's almost like a boat.
Yeah, it is.
All the time, and then when it's now this,
Right.
You're not out on the boat.
But, the season just keeps getting pushed up faster.
Oh, no
We
stop.
started.
Yeah. There is
I-
I've coached 37 years at the high school level, and there is no off season.
Right.
So
And we make sure all of our boys they're playing basketball together right now
Good.
as a team, so they're doing other things, but
they'll
they're
get
all
the
like,
itch. Like I said, at that age group, they'll get done about the end of 1st of February. They'll have an itch.
oh, they've got it now. They're already asking, like, can we go hit in the shed? I'm like, I can't go in there.
Winning is a drug, believe me.
Ready.
Yeah, but no, we were really happy to bring something good to the
I am too.
community. And,
like I said, it's changed my attitude a lot.
And I think the relationship between the travel side and the rec side has never been better, and we're really working to get everything up to date. But just as a whole, listening to your speech, both with the football and the baseball, rec leagues everywhere are just struggling.
They're struggling. Yep, I see that.
So I do think there could be maybe some brainstorming amongst the different
leagues.
organizations of how there could be.
And I know there's been an
cooperation.
idea of wanting to do that in our baseball league, and that's something, I'll be blunt, at this time, will not get directly involved with, but you would definitely have, for me speaking, my blessing if we had a single baseball league, or there was definitely cooperation, more cooperation. That's a good way to put that.
Yeah.
More cooperation amongst the baseball leagues.
Yeah. So, and I can leave, Eric's got my information, but I can,
Yep.
if anybody needs me, here's my.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank you
it.
kindly.
All right. Yeah, and I know Winston Reed too, so he's
Yeah.
already.
We'd all go to jail, we'll all go together.
I'll send you the coach's name from Fall Creek Valley Middle School that sent me the,
Okay,
I don't have.
Well, just have him get hold of chat with Brad Phelps.
right.
We'll go that route.
Okay.
Okay, go chat with Brad. I teach with the 8th grade baseball coach at Fall Creek Valley last year as a math teacher at Owen. I'll chew on him a little bit.
Okay.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. All right.
Colleagues, or anything else new before the board? Going once, twice?
Sold?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Adjourn.
Sign that paperwork, Jeff, please.
Where?
Right there.
Kyle, I'm